update citizens on all we have done and continue to do in relation to our children who lost to all children who were affected by this in the Mahdia Secondary School, their families, their parents, and the communities from which they come. For the magnitude of this tragedy is felt in these communities that are very small and united in the sense that they're very close-knitted communities. Communities where these children come from are communities that the people are very united and they feel the pain of each other. Therefore, the impact of this tragedy is having major effect on community members, many of whom are related. So we have extended all our services to the communities themselves, so that people in the community can also be part of this healing process. From the first second we received the reports of this fire, our team from the cabinet, the health workers, the doctors, health officials, the members of the joint services, the national security advisor, all the stakeholders, the regional authorities, have been working assiduously, without sleep, on the ground with these families to do the best we can to support them in this hour of need. This work, a lot of this work is happening very quietly, because the concentration now is on these families, these children, and these communities. But we have in our society some who are bent on mischief, and some who find joy in disseminating false, inaccurate information, frankly, that is insulting, demeaning. I've seen from so many Guyanese supporting this effort, from the pilots and the medical team who were out from midnight to the first night. I was there at Oval throughout the process, risking their lives on advice that there is bad weather to get. I am very grateful as President for the work that these people are doing. As I speak to my children who went to the Guyana Public Hospital Corporation, 9 are still in hospital. 20 were discharged in Georgetown and are with their parents. 5 will leave to Mahdia sometime today or in the morning. 2 remain critical. 1 with a 40% burn has been offered to be flown to Shriner in Texas, one of the best burn care hospitals. The paperwork in relation to their passport and travel documents. We're working simultaneously with Cuba, who have offered full support for all of these children to get the necessary medical care that may not be available here in Guyana. Teams consisting of psychologists are working around the clock with children, parents, and teachers in Mahdia, in Georgetown, in the villages. The medical team are proactively visiting communities. As a result of this, they're identifying proactively the risk and identifying children who are suffering to inflict harm upon themselves, proactively being brought for further treatment now. Yesterday I issued an order that every children, every parent, every family member who would like to be out with their children, to support their children for counseling, that we are offering the full unhindered support through flights and transportation. We have made a request to Mount Sinai, Northwell, PAHO, Sulcom, and RSS for specialized counseling, all of whom will have responded positively. And we are hoping that these specialist counselors will come to support our local team in the communities, in the schools, to support the families during this difficult time. The samples of the remains of those who require DNA testing, I speak to you, pathologists, to be returned to Guyana. Ministers, as I have said before, are assigned to every single family member. In the next hour, the Prime Minister updated every support. We're supporting with foodstuff, not only for the families, but for the communities. Supporting with transportation, the burial, the funeral, every possible need that has arisen, we're in full support of. I've also committed that this support will be for the medium, short, and medium term. And where necessary, long-term support will be made available. We have made a commitment that when we get through this period, as the issue of compensation was raised, that every single family will be spoken to directly, and this need will be responded to. We are working in the interest of these families and these children. We're working to bring comfort to them. I ask for responsibility from the media themselves, from the media and from those on social media. Respect not only for the families and telling relentlessly to support. Today I'm going to ask the Chief of Staff and Colonel Roberts, who have been on the ground, the Commissioner who have been on the ground, the National Security Advisor, to update you on some of the work that we have done. I will ask the Chief of Staff first to update you.
Thank you, Commander-in-Chief. Good afternoon, everyone. Since the reporting of this incident, the joint services, along with the private sector, had a massive coordinated response and recovery effort. To date, we have seen 25 flights and counting to Mahdia to extract families, students who were affected, bodies, and also provided humanitarian assistance. We have seen requests coming out from other family members in respective villages of Karasparu and Chinnapaw for the construction of tombs. We have embarked on that also. There was also one burial of one of the victims, Sabrina Johnson, and yesterday in Karasparu. I must say that the brother of Sabrina is a soldier, and he was there at that funeral. There are three other soldiers who also have families and relatives who were affected by this incident. So we have seen tremendous effort, and I must thank the private sector, Trans-Guyana, Roraima Airways, and various services to complement the flights going into this location. We have seen almost every 3 hours there is a flight going into that location, day and night. This is a tremendous effort. Transportation of persons out of that location, and in also over 100 persons, and that's counting too. services are very coordinated effort. We have it at the joint services level. Security also playing a very important role, and we're complementing these various efforts from the organization. Colonel Roberts was at the funeral in Carisparrow, and he would have given also some details on the ground here and some of the requirements that is needed.
Just to add what the Chief of Staff is saying, well, Carisparrow and the other communities, Chinapau and El Paso and Maikobi, the mode of transportation there is chopper. We have to use the chopper. So that is the only mode of transportation. And we have deployed the chopper all day yesterday. It is going back there. These pilots have been working around the clock to support the operation, and will continue to support it. Jerry was there with me from before midnight, and he has not left the ground. For a matter of fact, it was only last night that he came out of Mahdia. He is here and he will be returning to Mahdia. The National Security Advisor has a responsibility of coordinating all the transportation and logistics with the joint services. And I'll ask him to update you as to his role on the ground and what he did.
Thank you, Mr. President. Unlike when you called, immediately we mobilized and we got the 2 planes that were on the ground to prepare to bring the patients out, but they had to wait until we were able to get the burn specialists in on the Roraima Trilander, which we did, and then we were able to bring those badly injured children to Oberlin. You and I stood there at Oberlin and watched the doctors work to make them breathe. They were pumping their chests, and I was so impressed with the medical personnel that did not give up. Yesterday, and the last 2 days, we spent at Mahdia, and Mr. President, you ordered that all the families be brought to the city, and yesterday we spent the entire day shuttling and bringing the families out of the areas with the helicopter, and then from Mali we brought them into the city, and in the city they're being taken, they're being put in hotels, they're being fed, they're being transported, they're huddling together and they're giving each other support. Today we had a medical evacuation that was executed this afternoon for a young boy apparently who committed or attempted suicide, and then as we speak another plane just landed Mahdia as we're speaking here now, and they're about to extract 6 other young people who are on a suicide watch. But I must tell you, Mr. President, I think your leadership in bringing out the families, every single family who want to come, there's a plane available, and instantaneously they're being brought to the city and taken care of. So to speak, that is what is happening.
And Jerry's made an important point. The proactive work of the counselors on the ground and the psychologists, the high-risk persons, and we are bringing them for further counseling, bringing them for further treatment. That is the type of work that is going on the ground. And I think we have a responsibility, all of it. But what we have before us now is our collective response that will make the difference.
Mr. President, I just want to say one thing. Yesterday, we had the entire diplomatic corps there, and I happened to have had an opportunity to speak with them after. They were so grateful for going, and they all have a better appreciation, understanding of what happened, and they're all huddling together now to provide all the support you need. I think having them on the ground and seeing what happened yesterday was very, very instrumental in bringing them in, totally behind this effort.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Excellency. Immediately after we would have had a fire call, the SOPs in terms of fire service and the police, we've been working seriously. We aided or complemented the fire service too. We're still holding the scene. We managed to put system in place where we could have coordinated the patients coming to us. And so that extended to over to Georgetown, to the hospital. We had control and all the necessary arrangements in place to mitigate against any problems. Additionally, we've worked for 72 hours straight without any rest, and so we completed the fire in relation to the DPP.
started the construction of 3 tools at Chilipao and 4 at Caraspao, and we will be available to continue with that project as funerals are arranged. Thank you, sir.
And this is how difficult it is, because we have to get material in there. We have to support foodstuff into the communities. Let me reiterate that the government of Guyana is taking all necessary steps in providing every support, every conceivable support that is necessary at this time to these children, their families, their communities, because we understand that this impact has extended itself and affected the community themselves too. And this will continue throughout the process. As I said, this is not a 1 week or 3 day operation. Now, in relation to our national posture, I saw a lot of interest in events that will take place from the private sector over this weekend that are of a celebratory nature, whether it is shows or whatever they have in Georgetown. I think the private sector has a responsibility too. And these organizers of these shows must have a conscience and understanding of the situation in our country, the level of grief in our country. And I trust their ability to make the right decision in the interest of our country and in the interest of those who are affected. We are a government, and we have already established what should be the posture of all of us as a people at this moment. And I expect our entertainers, our producers of shows tonight, the entire independence ceremony, though Region 9 was anxiously planning and preparing with different cultural items, different performances, they understand, even here, that our posture is one of support, one of healing, and one of uplifting these families' life. But that entire program has been transformed into a night of reflection on the memory, celebrating the memory and prayerful reflection on these children and their families. All of us have a responsibility to do what is right. Again, I want to urge Guyanese that at this stage, the government is providing every conceivable support. Yes, I know we are loving and caring and giving persons. The sector, for example, has been calling relentlessly, and I thank them. The religious organization, and though the support that they're mobilizing will be one that we can look at later, but at this moment, the government has assumed the full responsibility of supporting these families and their children. We are sparing no expense. We are sparing nothing in support of these families, these children, and these communities. This is not the time to play on the emotions of anyone for any selfish reason. This is not the time to use tragedy as a tool for your own goals. We must learn from this tragedy. And we have to evaluate this tragedy so that we can ensure that proactively this never occurs again in our country. The appropriate mechanisms will be established to ensure this is done. We have a responsibility as a country to take this tragedy and use it as an instrument of unity, as an instrument that inspires us to do better for our children. It exposes the magnitude of the need for mental health counseling and support to young people, the changing dynamics of the learning environment, and how proactively we must work. All of this will be examined. All of this will have to be examined as we build back stronger. But at this moment, our concentration must be and will be on these children, their families, and their communities. As I said, for the avoidance of any doubt, in a few moments, the Prime Minister will update you on every single child that was in that hostel. Because that is what we're doing. We're tracking and communicating at the highest level, at the level of cabinet, with every family and every child. That is the level of responsibility you're taking. So my fellow Guyanese, I ask you for your continued support and prayers and sharing of good thoughts for these families, these children, and these communities. Thank you.
Mr. President, I just have a few questions to put with. We know you engaged Mount Sinai on the DNA testing for some of the victims. You initially said those results will be back by Friday. Will those results still be back by Friday?
Well, to get these results back by Friday, I'll tell you, they're flown in to pick up those samples. That plane would return the results of those samples back to Ghana. And yes, they have given us a timeline of sometime on Friday, and as I'm speaking to you now, the pathologists, they're working on that. But you'll appreciate, that is a medical process, and they've given a timeline, and that is the timeline that you were given.
Just for clarity, sir, you were able to get DNA samples from all of the parents, so that those the necessary testing could be done?
Yes, from what I advise, yes.
Okay. Mr. President, also, I know you spoke about the level of trauma in Mahdia. Of course, the secondary school in particular was impacted. Has the school returned to normal operations, or what's being done at the school?
Normal operation. I know the Minister of Education is working assiduously on alternative arrangement in relation to those who are writing exams. You know, CXC is, CSET is ongoing now. The teachers themselves are ongoing counseling, many students themselves. But we are also putting in a system where from Mount Sinai and these other organizations, we'll have specialized counselors that will be working in this school for maybe a couple of weeks to talk to children, to motivate children, to bring back some sort of normalcy in their life. So that, I think, is priority for us, for the entire school at this moment.
Has CXC given any indication that it might offer some provisions for those
The
students?
Static Minister of Education would advise you on, but I know she has been working around the clock with CXC, with the teachers, with the children, and she would definitely be able to update you on that.
Finally, sir, you just alluded to some of the shows we have starting tonight and this weekend. Has any organization given any indication that they might postpone or cancel those shows?
If I was the organizers, it would have been a no-brainer for me. The shows would have been on. And I hope that even the artists themselves would have an appreciation for this country at this time and would understand that this was not a planned event and that they would make the right decision. But as far as I'm concerned, these shows should be reprogrammed. This is not the time. And this is our opportunity as a collective to show support and honor these children and their families.
Thank you.
Mr. President, the President Air Force that came today actually did a military airborne salute to the memory of those children. I think it was remarkable for them to do that here today.
We are very grateful. Our neighbors from Brazil did a specific children, all international partners from all over the world. They've been reaching out to us, and we're tremendously grateful for their offer of support. And as a result of this, we have been able to access technology, equipment, personnel at a rapid pace. Only yesterday, Mount Sinai sent in specialized born treatmental material to help the local doctors here. So it's a really collective avenue to one use the situation. Please rethink your strategy. It is not much.